You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Major League Baseball, they announced they are pulling its summer AllStar game out of suburban Atlanta in response to Republican-backed election laws in Georgia that curtailed voting access in the state. The decision by Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred came after days of pressure from civil rights groups and the Major League Baseball Players Association. This is what the statement released today by Manfred reads. Over the last week, we have engaged in thoughtful conversations with clubs, former and current players, the Players Association, and the Players Alliance, among others, to listen to their views. I've decided that the best way to demonstrate our values as a sport is by relocating this year's All-Star game and MLB draft. Major League Baseball fundamentally supports voting rights for all Americans and opposes restrictions to the ballot box. In 2020, MLB became the first professional sports league to join the nonpartisan Civic Alliance to help build a future in which everyone participates in shaping the United States. We proudly use our platform to encourage baseball fans and communities throughout our country to perform their civic duty and actively participate in the voting process. Fair access to voting continues to have our game's unwavering support. We will continue with our plans to celebrate the memory of Henry Hank Aaron during this season's All-Star festivities. In addition, MLB's planned investments to support local communities in Atlanta as part of our All-Star Legacy projects will move forward. We are finalizing a new host city, and details about these events will be announced shortly. Now, the Atlanta Braves also released their statement. Not quite what you would expect, but maybe you would. Go to my iPad, please. This is how it reads. The Atlanta Braves are deeply disappointed by the decision of Major League Baseball to move its 2021 All-Star game. This was neither our decision nor our recommendation, and we are saddened that fans will not be able to see this event in our city. The Braves organization, guys, go back to the iPad, please. Thank you. The Braves organization will continue to stress the importance of equal voting opportunities, and we had hoped our city could use this event as a platform to enhance the discussion. Our city has always been known as a uniter in divided times, and we will miss the opportunity to address issues that are important to our community. Unfortunately, businesses, employees, and fans in Georgia are the victims of this decision. We will continue to support the community legacy projects which have been planned and are in progress. Joining us right now is ESPN writer Howard Bryant. He also is the author of a book on Henry Aaron. Howard, first and foremost, Henry Aaron was someone who believed in civil rights. And I wouldn't be surprised that if he was still living, he would tell Major League Baseball, thank you, stand for voting rights, because some things are bigger than entertainment.
Yeah, no question about that. And I think that baseball found itself in a box. What were you going to do? Are you really going to celebrate Jackie Robinson Day on April 15th? Are you going to celebrate Hank Aaron Day on April 8th when he broke the record, 1974, in Atlanta? Are you going to have an All-Star game that celebrates the memory of Henry with this looming over you? And I think what it really does come back down to is baseball recognizing that aligning yourself with this narrative of voter fraud is bad for business, and it's not going to help them, and that it's kryptonite for them, and that they knew that they weren't going to be able to talk their way out of this. And I don't really think, Roland, before we get too deep into this, I'm not sure. I'm sure this is not player-based. This is business-based. This is the league and the union recognizing ahead of time. This is not really a player movement. There are no players who are really in front of this. Maybe a little bit behind the scenes, but I think this is the business of Major League Baseball, the industry of Major League Baseball, really siding with civic institution, the civic institution of democracy and of voting, realizing we can't side with this narrative of voter fraud.
And the thing here, and let's just be real, okay? Republicans did this because they lost. This was not, okay, we found massive voter fraud. No, there wasn't voter fraud. This is about penalizing folks in Georgia, especially black people who turn out to vote. And this is real simple. And I know, Fox News is going to absolutely, first of all, Fox News is going to have a field day today with this decision and a member of the Nation of Islam ramming his car, killing a Capitol Hill police officer. And so they're going to be on cloud nine. But the bottom line is here. These white men, these Republicans, need to understand this ain't the same America. we have power and are going to flex it. And that's what caused the Delta CEO to change his statement, the Coca-Cola CEO to change his statement. And down in Texas, the companies, they saw what happened in Georgia, so American Airlines got out front of the voter suppression law there. They didn't wait for it to get signed into law. They came out and saying, no, we're against it right now.
Well, I think they know how it looks. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I think that the organizations, the leagues themselves know that ahead of time. What I'm saying is that this movement wasn't driven by players necessarily. And I don't think the industry of baseball wanted to chance it, because then once you get the players involved, now you've got a really embarrassing situation. How do you feel about having an All-Star game in Atlanta supposedly honoring Hank Aaron, and then the players pulling a wildcat strike or something like that? They knew that they had to do something ahead of time. And the difference is that even if all of these elements were the same, even if the vote had been the same, even if the legislation had been the same, I think a lot of these industries believed that they could talk their way around it and that they could survive the fallout of it. And now I think they realize that they can't.
Right, and I think that's what has changed. And folks need to understand, I was yesterday, Amanda Carpenter, who is a conservative, she's a commentator on CNN. She was, highly critical of people talking about boycotting Georgia, and I had to give Amanda a history lesson. I had to walk her through the history of boycotts and sports and things along those lines, trying to explain to her how these things work. First of all, the Super Bowl was canceled in Phoenix after Arizona declined to make MLK Day a state holiday. The NCAA did not do any of their championships in South Carolina for 15 years, joining with the NAACP because of the flag flying above the state capitol. In Mississippi, the NCAA said there will be no championships in your state as long as that Confederate flag is on the flag. So we have a history where, again, this has gone on 15, 20 years, where pressure has been applied to major sporting events saying, hey, you don't do this, you're going to have a serious problem. And so there's precedent here.
Well, Roland, let's not forget, how far back do you want to go? Let's not forget 1965. You have the AFL AllStar game that was moved from New Orleans to Houston because the black players couldn't get taxis and hotel accommodations. And in Atlanta in general, the Milwaukee Braves, the only reason they moved to Atlanta in the first place was because they were guaranteed by the city that Atlanta Fulton County Stadium was going to be integrated, that there was not going to be segregated seating there. Otherwise, the Braves don't even move to Atlanta. And obviously, you can just go back 4 years ago, go back to 2017, the NBA All-Star game with the bathroom bill. They moved the All-Star game from Charlotte. So absolutely, these things are absolutely, there's history here, and we know that it's a long history. And we also know that it's an appropriate history in a lot of ways, because these stadiums are publicly financed. And because they're publicly financed, it's not as though it's simply just a private decision that these leagues can make. There is pressure to be applied here. And I think there's something else that needs to be considered too. And that is, we are seeing the backlash already, that this law, it's not just a backlash against losing, it's also a backlash against the players. We knew last year that the Atlanta Dream players they changed the election between Warnock and Loeffler. We know this, and that this was a response to that as well. And so at some point, it would have been very interesting to see what the players are going to do moving forward, because it's not just the sensation of creating some sort of change in the vote in the moment. It's also being prepared to mobilize when the backlash comes. And as we're seeing right now, this is part of the backlash.
And what's also interesting here, Howard, you've got Republicans in more than 40 states proposing voter suppression bills. Texas may very well pass a similar bill to Georgia. It's already passed the Texas State Senate. Florida is considering this. You have other states. So this also puts other states on notice. You might start losing major sporting events, major conventions due to voter suppression. So it's like, which one you want? Do you like money, or do you like Jim Crow voter bills? Take your pick.
It also puts the players on notice as well, is that if you're going to announce yourself that you're going to be involved in this, it's not a one-day thing.
Yeah.
Are you in or are you not in?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I certainly applaud Major League Baseball's decision. You're absolutely right. They got ahead of this. They didn't wait for the players' union to release a statement saying, let's bounce out. Tony Clark, of course, did say he would be talking to players, but this was Again, a move that also came after President Joe Biden gave an interview where he supported pulling the All-Star game out. That also gave them some cover. Of course, the governor in Bryant is not happy at all. Again, all of these white male conservatives won't be happy.
Yeah, but Roland, I'm sorry to interrupt you. There's
Go ahead.
one other thing that we really should consider with this too, when we talk about this being player-driven or not being player-driven, is that baseball is the most conservative of the three major sports in America, not including hockey, obviously, but. Because I don't think that the players, if you put it to a vote to the players themselves in Major League Baseball, I don't think this game gets moved. That's what I'm saying. This is not player-driven.
No, I agree.
This is corporate-driven. I think that the players would have absolutely allowed this game to be played because Tony Clark doesn't have the membership to vote this thing out.
Yeah, but baseball is an overwhelmingly white sport, a white male conservative sport, but you're absolutely right. But this also shows the power, what I keep saying, the power of external pressure.
That's right.
Being applied, and basically it's saying to companies, y'all got to pick. You gonna stand with them, or you gonna stand with what's right? They can't dance around it. And in fact, Delta and Coca-Cola and others tried to dance around it. The Georgia Chamber of Commerce tried to dance around it when it was being considered, and they really didn't come out until after it passed, and they got that heat. But that's why the external pressure matters. Yeah,
no question.
Howard Bryant, ESPN, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Folks, you want to get his book on Henry Aaron. Absolutely great. And also, Howard, title of your book that deals with sports activism.
That is The Heritage, Black Athletes Who Divided America and the Politics of Patriotism from 2018.
So the Control Room, do me a favor. Y'all be sure to grab both of those book covers, and I'll flash it later in the show. So, Howard, we try to get you some royalties.
I need my slices of pizza.
Huh?
I said I need my slices of pizza. That's my royalty.
All right, we'll hook you up. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends, go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.